started because we have a couple announcements before our speaker comes on, so feel free to still get your food and your wine and your water. Thank you all for being here tonight. I know it's a different location, and we're excited to have it at Capital Factory this evening. So thank you to Capital Factory for allowing YWA to get in here. For those of you that are new to our organization, YWA is an organization that has its members empowered to develop personally and professionally through our educational programs. And we have opportunities for you to lead, network, and serve. So for those of you that are new, I don't think that my VP of membership is here this evening, but her name is Jessica Pino. And if you guys have any questions, please just email membership@youngwomensalliance.org, and she will be happy to follow up with you. But for now, I want my whole rest of the board that is here just to kind of stand up so the new members can see who you are. Thank you. If you are new and have any questions, please see any of these ladies, and they will be so happy to help you. Thank you, ladies. Before we get our announcement started, I have one announcement. We have every month a board member of the month and a member of the month. I have two board members of the month, one of which is my membership VP, Jessica Pino. She's not here this evening, but my other one is my VP of Alumna, who is Rebecca. If you'd like to stand up really quick. And we have a member of the month. She's outside checking in. Her name is Casey Swartz. I don't know if you can get her for me. Thank you. Casey, I wanted to congratulate you on being member of the month. And I also wanted to congratulate Sarah for also being member of the month. So this is our general meeting, and we do this every third Wednesday of the month. And this is also an opportunity for some of our members to be able to come up here and talk about what they have going on in the organization. And this is called our Live Buzz. So I have a couple of people that have signed up for this, so we're going to really quickly go through that. I have Tara Wilkinson first. She's our VP of Development.
Hi everyone, I'm Tara Wilkinson, VP of Development for the Foundation. For those that our FFC has been extended to the end of January until the end of this month. We still have plenty of time to help raise money. If you're not really wanting to take the challenge of fundraising for yourself, there's a lot of women in this room who could use your support, so please feel free to support one of your friends in here. Definitely email me if you have any questions. And good luck to everybody. Sarah Williamson over there is in the lead with over 550.
That's awesome. And for those of you that are new, and for our members, tonight is also a special evening. Later on, you'll get to see what the funds are, where they get to go to tonight. We are recognizing our grant recipients this evening, so you get to see exactly where your money is raised and where it goes to. The next announcement is our President-elect, Ms. Jessica Sager.
Hello. Greetings, salutations. So, as President-elect, one of the things that's coming up is our board applications are opening. Hooray! So our board applications are opening officially on Monday the 26th. You'll be getting an email from it via YWA, and they will be open until February 6th. So it's a Monday through a Friday. I really encourage you, if you have any interest, to apply. It's just a really great opportunity. You're just going through the process. One of our pillars is lead, educate, network, serve, and one of the best ways to lead in this organization is through being involved in the board. So we'd love to see you, we'd love to interview you, we'd love to have your leadership skills help empower us and our women and the whole community. So be on the lookout. I look forward to seeing you guys.
And for those of you that want to know a little bit more, there is going to be a board info session where a lot of our current board members will be at. So for those of you that are interested, on February 3rd, from 6:30 to 8 at House of Wine, there will be an info session for you to come to. Okay, my next one is Diana.
No, that's okay. Thanks. Can everybody hear me? My name is Diana. I'm the Higher Ed Scholarship Chair. I just want to let y'all know that the scholarship application is now open. We are awarding 5 $3,000 scholarships this year. And this is for women who have completed at least 60 hours of undergrad or are looking to go into grad school. So if you have any questions about that, please contact me, or you can look on our website. There should be information on there in the application as well. I think Candace, do you want to talk about the young leaders?
Yeah, so it's scholarship season for our community, and so she has her higher education, and I'm the chair for the Leader Scholarship, so that is for high school seniors that are going to be applying and entering into their first year of college. So little sisters' friends of friends, and high school counselors, anybody you can spread the word to about the scholarship. We're going to be taking applications that just went live, and March 1st, yeah, March 1st, yeah, the rest of the week. So if you guys have any questions, just giving out or just go to the website.
Great, thank you. And my last announcement is Ms. Vanessa Fuentes.
All right, so who here knows what's going on March 7th?
Besides board members. Okay. Ashley?
Okay, sorry. Other member who's not a member of AE40 or on the board? Anyone? Yes. No, masquerade ball, or maybe there is, I'm not sure. Okay, so it's the Austin Under 40 Awards Gala, which is our biggest fundraiser for the YWA Foundation, and all of y'all should go because it's a premier awards presentation that honors our peers who are doing well in the community as well as excelling in their careers. So I am here to ask, alongside my volunteer coordination chair, Sarah Harrington, right there, for volunteers. We are going to discount the ticket price, which is originally $150, to $80 if you're willing to volunteer 2 hours of your time during the gala, and that includes dinner. So if you're interested in volunteering, please contact Sarah Harrington and she will get you on the list. Thank you.
All right, ladies. And for those of you that don't know me, I should have said this before. My name is Alex, and I am the current president of YWA. So if you have any questions after the meeting, please feel free to come up to me, and I would love to talk to you. So before I have Mary introduce our speaker, we're going to introduce our grant recipients really quick. So I'm going to have Natalie come up. She is the grant chair this year.
Thanks. Thank you, Alex. As Alex said, my name is Natalie Metzger-Smith. I'm the community grant chair. And this year, for those of you who don't know, we had opened up our grant opportunities to any nonprofits in Travis County. Normally, there were just 5 eligible nonprofits. This time, it was open to everyone. We got a ton of applications. It was super competitive, and I'm here to award grants to the top 2. So if I could have representatives of the Girl Scouts come up. And if you could just introduce yourself real quick.
Hi, I'm Tyson Sato. I'm the grant writer at Girl Scouts.
Hi, my name's Sharika Serna and I'm a Girl Scout.
I'm Joanna Champagne. I'm the director of the Girl Scout Beyond Bars program.
I'm Erin Jackson. I'm director of member services for Girl Scouts of Central Texas.
All right, so just to give you guys a little bit of background on how awesome Girl Scouts is, they provide leadership development to girls ages 5 to 17 who live in Central Texas. The funding that they're going to get from us, which is $3,000. This is where your fundraising money is going, people. Funding received would be used to support the Girl Scouts Beyond Bars program. This program is really super cool because it provides services to girls whose mothers are incarcerated. The girls in the program receive a ton of stuff. They get therapy, they get regular prison visits with their moms, they get evidence-based curriculum, counseling, and a female mentor that provides enrichment opportunities. But it doesn't end there. The moms of these girls in prison also get counseling and to rebuild their parenting skills, and they get case management once they're released from prison, which is super cool. And this year, they're gonna serve 30 girls and their moms at Gatesville prison, at prison in Gatesville. And with the money that they receive, they're gonna use it on transportation to prison visits and troop activities, food and beverage expenses for troop meetings, program supplies, financial assistance, uniforms, outreach, everything. So this is just across the board going to support the program, and we're really excited about it. So, yeah. All right. Next recipients of this year's grant award goes to Call Me Madre. If I could have staff from Call Me Madre come up. We have.
She's part of Call Me Madre too.
Oh yeah, so the Girl Scout is a part of Call Me Madre, which is super awesome. So there's like a little reunion going on here. Come on up, Jerika. So I'm a recipient of both organizations, and you see we did plan this. So I have Teresa Granillo, she's the executive director of Call Me Madre, and Carlos Salas, the program director. And for those of you who don't know, Call Me Madre provides education and support services to Latina girls and their mothers. Their focus is to help young Latinas stay in school and pursue higher education. And they achieve this by providing case management to both the Latinas and their moms, which is really special. And what they do is they focus on keeping the girls in school, taking rigorous coursework, developing healthy self-esteem, and avoiding risky behavior, helping out with college applications and enrollment, and basically ensuring that they receive a college degree. And this year, during this academic year, I believe you'll serve 600 mother-daughter teams. And what they're going to do with the funds is they're going to put them towards direct programming costs like conferences and workshops, college visits, their annual graduation ceremony, and program personnel. So, we are going to award them $7,000. So, yeah, really exciting. Okay, thanks guys.
Thank you all very much.
This is where the foundation money goes towards.
Hey guys, I'm here to present Mellie Price, our speaker for tonight. Thank you all so much for coming. Mellie Price, a 25-year Austinite, came to Austin to attend the University of Texas and never left. An experienced investor, business manager, fund manager, and entrepreneur, Mellie loves building and growing companies that create great investment returns. She was the founder and CEO of Austin's own Front Gate Tickets, one of the largest privately held ticketing companies in the U.S., Canada, from 2002 to 2012. She is the founder and managing partner of Source Sprang, an investment group that specializes in early stage technology companies and real estate. Mellie also serves as managing director of Capital Factory and is a general partner to its investment fund. In addition to her passion for bean counting and keeping the proverbial house in order, Mellie loves four-legged critters, good wine, growing succulents, and spending time with her family. You can connect with her on Twitter and LinkedIn, and today she's here to talk about the most important story she learned each year for 10 years of running her own company. Everyone turn off your cell phones and check in. Tweet, Instagram, Facebook, whatever you do. We want everybody to know that YWA is having their January general meeting at Capital Factory with Mellie Price.
Wow, thank you. First things first. I get some waves. All right. Well, let me just say, it's pretty cool to be here. And I promise I will be unlike any speaker you've had in the past. Did you get warnings that I'm pretty unconventional? You guys are killing me. Do I need a microphone in the back? Okay. Yes. You guys are killing me. First, I'd like to thank Nicole for connecting me with YWA, which many months ago, which resulted in coming here today. It's an honor to be here and to occupy 30 minutes of your lives. Thank you. I hope to be of value here And I really hope also that we have, I kind of want to set the stage for the environment. I am an unconventional speaker. I'm also an unconventional female leader, so I am told I'm just being me as far as I'm concerned. But I really want this room, I'm doing something in my life right now called Leadership Austin. Is anybody familiar with that program? Okay, so I'm 45. Just turned 45. And I'm going through Leadership Austin for the first time. I've been in Austin over 25 years. I've done 8 startups, 4 successful exits, 2 we won't talk about, 2 that, it was worth my time. And so I've been here a long time, and I've been in the software business for a long time. And I reached this place, and I'll talk about it a little bit in my presentation today, but I reached this place in my life where I was like, okay, I know how to start companies, and I've been in this community for a long time, and that there's something that is a void for me personally in terms of what I want to do in my life. And a couple friends of mine encouraged me to go to Leadership Austin, and it's one of the best decisions I've made because I got to know different parts of Austin. Like, despite being here, and I contribute to nonprofits, and I'm on boards, and I invest in companies, but I didn't have that community feel. And one of the things that I feel in this room today, as I've been talking to people, what do you know about YWA? I hear feedback like, it's really cool. It's a pretty diverse group of young women. And you guys really are the next generation of leaders. If you're taking time out in your 20s and 30s, and I am judging that you are in your 20s or 30s, except for you, Carrie. You guys really are going to be the next generation of leaders. So when I say it's an honor to talk to you, it really is. And I am going to take this moment to kind of push a little bit of a personal agenda about the work that I'm doing in Leadership Austin right now. And it's something, where did you guys go? Where's your mission? Something I caught about your mission: envisioning a community of limitless opportunities where every woman reaches her full potential. And so one of the things I'm learning in Leadership Austin right now is about the importance of diversity and inclusion. And I'm actually an openly gay woman, and I have been since it was really not cool to be. And it really was not socially acceptable. I came out when I was 15, and I'd been out my whole professional life. And I have definitely run into some obstacles, and I've definitely also had the life experience of not running into obstacles. I've been privileged with just, if I show up and I do my best work, I've been accepted, I've been rewarded, and I've excelled professionally. And that's a transition that's happened in the last, seriously in the last 25 years. It was not an option when I was 18 and I was going to college, and by the time I got out, it was. And it's easy in our place as young leaders, and I put myself in that category, I'm still young, to take that for granted. It's easy when somebody stands up in front of a largely heterosexual room and says, here's been my life experience, to kind of gloss over it and say, that doesn't impact me. I'm not gay, or that doesn't impact me. I don't have kids. The other life experience I'm having right now is I have a 4-year-old adopted daughter who's Hispanic. And in and of itself, no big deal. I go through Leadership Austin, and I learned that 1 in 3 children, Hispanic children under 5, are living in poverty in Austin, Texas, and in the state of Texas. And so this little diatribe that I'm on, which actually has nothing to do with my presentation, is that I'm having this awareness about the importance of young leaders and the importance of children. When we talk about every woman and full potential, when you grow up in poverty and when you grow up without access to education, and this is not a big liberal agenda on my part, it fundamentally shapes how you grow as a human being and how you contribute to your society. And as business people, there is a business case for equality. And that's something I'm becoming personally really passionate about. There's a business case when you're Toyota and you're considering moving to your plant to Plano, and you're moving people from all over the nation to this plant, and their marriages aren't recognized. When you are talking about creating change, change can happen in 2 generations. And you guys are the ones right now that can shift this tide through diversity and inclusion. And I'm not talking about the systemic things that are put on us as business owners and as people. This is not about HR. This is not about laws and systems and government. This is about us as people saying, I value the person next to me. And when we're young, or at least when I was young, I would show up and I was so self-absorbed. I'd show up in my little business suit in the 90s, and I used it as this cloak to keep me safe. I'm a professional. I have a business suit on. I'm a leader. I'm in this meeting at 28 years old that makes me feel self-important. And the biggest opportunity you guys have that I missed, quite frankly, is to make that change in your heart and in your mind today when you're young and you're influencing the next generation. So with that, and thank you for letting me do my little soapbox. I really want you guys to take that to heart as I talk about some of these things. I'm going to talk about this from the perspective of I'm an early stage company person. I have had life experiences of working in large companies and publicly traded companies. I've had experiences of working in nonprofits as well. And the reason I often talk about this is I believe that the most valuable way I can be of service to people that I share my story with is to be authentic. And that's why I shared so much personal information with you in the beginning. It's not a political agenda. I want to connect with you. I want you guys to be like, Mellie Price she's just another freak walking the planet trying to do the best she can do too. Because that's what we're all doing. We're all here trying to live the best lives we can. And so Frontgate was 10 years of my life. And I learned a lot, I failed a lot, I succeeded a lot. And I hope to share some of those things with you along the way. So with that, Frontgate. Started it in my living room. This was pre-Capital Factory days. It was not really an option to go raise money for an idea. I capitalized Frontgate tickets on $15,000. I went to 3 friends, or myself and 2 friends. And so we gotta put $5,000, we gotta put skin in the game. $5,000 to start this company to buy printers, because it was still hardware. Online ticket sales weren't really happening. And I'm so glad I bootstrapped this company, because if I started this company today, I would come to Capital Factory and I would pitch, and I'd instantly think my idea was worth $3 million, and I would try to get a convertible note, and I would try to raise money, and I would be set up kind of for what the company was at the time for failure relative to the value. And so part of this story is about bootstrapping, and it's about sort of digging in and finding those personal things along the way. So, nugget number 1, get your pencil sharpened. Pick the chosen family carefully. So, I'm going to tell the story about Frontgate, and I'll try to draw parallels to our lives. And I'll also try to do it, I like to chat, I like to talk. I will also try to do it in a timely fashion. So, this is 2002. I started Frontgate in my living room, had no money. Had my first client, Stubbs Barbecue, who they were just like, we need an alternative to sell tickets to Ticketmaster. And I was like, give me 6 months and I'll make it happen. And so off we went. And pick your chosen family carefully applies not only in a startup, but in your personal life. You guys are at the age now where you're forming relationships that will stay with you for, if you're lucky, your lifetime. But certainly for decades. People you form relationships with at work, networking, these are going to be your people. And I'm at this really cool place in life right now where I go to dinner with my friend Anne, who met me when I was your age, and what's even weirder, she was my age now. And Anne was an oral maxillofacial surgeon. She taught me how to scuba dive, and actually I met her as a scuba diver long before I knew she was a surgeon. I was like, this one looks so cool, she scuba dives, she goes on expedition, and she seemed like this really neat person. Her boyfriend, like they traveled around the world. I was 26, I thought that was the coolest thing ever. And then she was like, yeah, I'm an oral maxillofacial surgeon by day. I was like, oh, she really is a badass. And fortunately, she took me under her wing, and 20 years later, I can say this woman is still my best friend, or she has become my best friend. She's been a mentor to me. She knows absolutely, she would be totally embarrassed to know that I told the universe this. Two, she loved me for who I was at a time. She knows nothing about technology. She was with me the whole time I started Front Gate. She could give a rat's ass less, and she never asked me for a ticket to a show, which may have helped in our journey together. But this person here became these two people worked for me in my very first startup. And when I went to do my fourth startup, we had formed a relationship and built trust, and they were the first people I went to. And whether you're doing a startup or you're in a career and you get a promotion, you will always want your people on your team, and you'll always try to bring them with you. And if you're not the one leading, you're the one that you want to be brought along. And so pick the people carefully and nurture those relationships. I'm really now appreciative that some older women in my younger years put the ageism down because I couldn't at 25 or 26. Because now at 45, they're the closest relationships I have, and they're showing me how to age gracefully, and we're going through these beautiful life changes. So the fact that you've come together as a group of women, it's not about the here and now. It's not about who's got an edge up on you right now. This is about 10, 15, 20 years from now, and it's super cool. So that's nugget one. Nugget two. 2003, I had a product that we built in the living room. Everyone in that picture is still a friend of mine today. 3 of the 4 have gone through multiple companies with me. We're starting to have success around the nation with these little venues. And there was this festival called Austin City Limits Festival, which was in its, I think, 2nd year at the time. He was like, hey, you guys are doing something kind of cool. We don't want to use Star Tickets, and we don't want to use Ticketmaster. What do you think? And I was like, I think that would be awesome. And what do I need to do to make it happen? And I won't bore you with the details of the negotiation, but it was a very difficult negotiation, starting with the fact that I was a brand new startup. I didn't have a reputation as a ticket company. You have to remember that when somebody gives you their $150 for a festival ticket, it comes to me. So Austin City Limits is saying, are you sure you're ready to process 200,000 $150 tickets? And you promise you won't leave to the Bahamas with my money? So it took a lot to build trust, and I'll talk about that a little bit down the road. But the fact that early on I was able to secure somebody who believed in me, was willing to take a risk, really made a huge difference in the success of the company. And again, this applies to whether you're starting a company or whether you're an early employee or whether you're later in life and you're pivoting. Not only do you have to find people that will believe in you, you have to remember to pay that back. There will always be somebody who is wet behind the ears. And my rule of thumb is you hire and partner on the basis of character and integrity first, and skills a distant third. But you gotta find a keystone. Keystone client, keystone partner, keystone employee, keystone mentor, no keystone cops. So we're 2 years into the business, it's 2004. I'm like, I'm working for myself, and let me tell you, it was fugly. Being honest about what it takes, at least in the startup world, was for me this journey of, I had sort of glamorized what I thought working for yourself looked like. And if there's any of you right now who are like, I'm going down a corporate path, I sure wish I could work for myself. Don't glamorize it, because it is a wonderful thing, but it is also a very hard thing. And so it sounds simple, but with every task you take on in life, whether it's picking a job or finding the keystone, whatever, or you got to be really honest. You got to dig in and look internally and listen to those internal clues that you get as to whether or not you're on the right track and whether or not you're being honest with yourself. Can I really do the job I was being asked to do? You know, if not, how do I reinforce myself to be successful? You know, the bravado that comes with being young is your nemesis. And to have self-awareness about that at an early stage and not being afraid to ask for help and being vulnerable about when you don't know what you don't know. It's very counterintuitive, but it's super powerful. And so that's my nugget there. Okay. Are there any graphic designers in the room just quivering at my slides? Because I will just own that they are not pretty. But I have fun making them because it's like totally just me, and it's not my strength, and I just want to be vulnerable enough to put my ugly sides up there. So 2005 was a really cool year for Frontgate. We'd launched, we'd gotten a client, we'd convinced Austin City Limits. You know, we were doing stuff in other markets, which at the time it was really hard to get out of Austin, and we were winning more clients than we were losing. They were just jumping like fleas off dogs at Ticketmaster. And I found myself quickly with more than I could do, and how do I decide what to take on? And as successful people and as leaders, you will constantly be tempted. One, you'll be asked to pick up more than you can take on, and two, you will be tempted to pick it up and take it on. And I learned the hard way that it's better to underpromise and overdeliver. It builds trust, and that goes on throughout your career, and it's a lot less stressful. It's a lot easier said than done. I wish you all the best. Okay, so 2006 and golden nugget number 5. I know this is an ugly slide, but know when you're onto something and then double down. I mean, how ridiculous does that sound? But it's really true. So it's 2006. We're crushing it. We're 3 years old, and every concert venue in the nation is like, can I sell tickets on your platform? We had just launched this thing called private label ticketing, because at the time, you go to Ticketmaster, and we all know what that experience was like. These people were like, wow, I can extend my brand all the way through the customer experience. They love the platform, and they're just jumping on us like flies to come. And I had this nagging, I was pretty young still, not that young has anything to do with it. I don't even know why I just said that, young. I was still naive, and I was still insecure about what I was building, despite the fact that I was having phenomenal success, making money, attracting the best talent, attracting literally the best brands in the nation. I was still insecure. I was like, oh, am I doing it right? Could I be doing it better? You know, I don't know. And I didn't double down. I kind of froze in my own success for about 1.5 years, where it was like decisions were coming at me and I didn't know how to make them, and I didn't want to give up, and I suck at delegating, and it was just all this stuff. And so I failed to double down at a critical inflection point in my business. How that relates to non-startup life, I think there's a great parallel. And honestly, I've experienced it personally in the relationship realm. When you're like dating, if it doesn't feel right, you know, and when it feels right, like, let yourself go. Let yourself go fully into it. It can also be the same in a job. If you find yourself just like, I'm just not sure about this job, if you are not a wild yes, you have enough time and talent and treasure not to waste your time there. You owe it to yourself to make that change, and trust that that change will permeate other areas of your existence and create a better outcome for everybody at the table. So, you know, I'm sharing some of these things. I'm a little wistful about it, because there's part of me that's like, you know, honestly, Frontgate tickets should have been Ticketmaster plus Eventbrite combined. And everybody asks me all the time, you know, oh, Frontgate is so successful. You know, what's your biggest failure? I failed to go into the international market when I could have. I failed to go into the self-service market when I could have. And it's because I was so busy trying to hold on to what I had that I didn't double down. So, get a little crazy. Double down. Are you guys having fun?
Yes.
All right. because I can break into song and dance. Okay, 2007. Oh man. That was the fugly house. That back was on, this is a place, yeah, you guys probably don't remember when Front Gate was on 6th Street going to Mopac. It was in a little house. And we grew and grew and grew. Like, we went from 1 room to 3 rooms to 5 rooms, and we took over that 3-story monstrosity in the back. And when you would call and we would go, Frankie, how can I help you? The phones were ringing in that crazy office, which did not have air conditioning in that back office. And we'd done Austin City Limits Festival, but it was in our town. And so my brilliant idea the first year was, everybody was too cheap to go for like FedEx or anything, so we did certified mail. We did 200,000 certified mails. I still crack up. I have some pictures that just every time I look at them, I'm like, who the F thought that was a good idea? I mean, we had tables like these all the way across the box office, 2-3 layers deep, with envelopes full of certified mail that had been returned because the person hadn't signed for it. Bad. Operational excellence is critical. I think this slide is really for me, so just bear with me on this. But I am by nature a wing it kind of gal. I'm a perfectionist when the details demand it, but in the absence of like death, pain, suffering, complete failure, I'm a bootstrapper. And so we did not think through what it would be like to ship 200,000 FedExes to Chicago for Austin City Limits Festival. One of my operations managers walked in and was like, hey, we're gonna start stuffing FedEx envelopes. I'm really proud we got it automated. Like, it doesn't seem like a big deal now, but in 2007, there wasn't a lot of like print easily to tracking sheets and stuff. And we were second to Dell. We were FedEx's largest client in Central Texas. I think actually Texas at the time. So they gave us the swank hookup and to actually print the little labels. And so we were super proud. And my operations manager comes in and was like, we're gonna start stuffing envelopes. What do you want me to do? I'm like, checking email, I'm looking at my spreadsheet, I'm definitely not doubling down, I'm like all up in myself, and I'm like, put them in garbage bags and we'll figure it out. And so I go to lunch and I find this. And I was like, oh, I didn't think it was that big. But operational excellence, I mean, it sounds obvious in a professional setting, but it matters at home. I'll give you another example of how kind of not great I am at operational excellence. Who in their right mind, have any of you guys noticed that I have blisters all over my side of my face and my chest? You haven't gotten close enough? Well, I just want you to know, because when we're talking afterwards, I do not have leprosy. However, in my planning for the fact that I was going to give a public speaking engagement today, I accepted a 4 o'clock appointment with a dermatologist. It's little things, but as a mom who has a 4-year-old, it's like a freaking miracle that I get the peanut butter sandwich in the bag with something else in the bag in time to get in the car to go to school to be there like by 9. And I'm like this amazing CEO who grows companies and all that. So this 4-year-old takes me down operationally every day. So one, I commend those of you that are operationally excellent. Take pride in that and realize how valuable you are to people like me. Also, in the spirit of the opening comment, which is, we're all different and it takes all kinds, have tolerance for people who are wild-eyed visionaries who sometimes can't remember very simple things. Yes, that was a fun day. Okay, I worked extra long on this slide, visually. Beware the siren song of shiny new things. 2008, we were, literally, Eventbrite really wasn't taking hold yet. They were all self-service oriented. They hadn't really taken on venue ticketing, festival ticketing, anything like that. We were the biggest thing going in the nation. The parent company, everybody here knows Frontgate Tickets is Frontgate Tickets, but I'm a software developer. The company I started is actually Frontgate Solutions, and Frontgate Tickets was one of 9 licensees of the software. So the real power in what we built was that we enabled regional ticketing companies around the nation, like Frontgate Tickets. Frontgate Tickets, just by virtue of the festivals and stuff that we did, was able to go national. But we had 8 other licensees that were doing versions of their own. I sell tickets for Stubbs, Antones, you know, all the little local companies. And so we had rolled up an aggregation of the most important music festivals in the nation for the most part. And so everybody was knocking. Everybody was knocking. We were hot stuff. And we did a pretty good job not drinking our own Kool-Aid, maybe too good of a job. We were very heads down doing our thing. But when people, well, this is a laughing stock now, but it was pre-Facebook. You know, these guys throw real money. These guys are now a competitor. Live Nation now owns these guys and was just beginning their rise. Etix was a solid regional competitor, and Music Today is now also owned by Live Nation. They did artist ticketing only at the time. So all that to say, you know, real money was coming at us. And one, as a founder, you have a fiduciary duty to entertain any M&A offers. But 2, when you're the founder and you see the dollar signs, you're like, yeah, let's talk about this. And what I learned the very hard way is that even though we were a really successful company, we were still small. We were still maybe 50 people. And it took 4, 5, 6 of my prime management staff out of the game every time we went and explored an M&A opportunity. So the siren song of shiny new things, and this does parallel our relationship lives. You know, it takes a lot out of you, and the grass is not always green. It looks greener, but it is not always greener on the other side. And every action has every force has an equal and opposite force. And so while you're pursuing things that seem great, might be another job, might be a new boyfriend, girlfriend, might be another city. It does come at a consequence, and you can't deny those consequences. And so make mindful decisions about where you put your energy. I wish I had learned that one a while ago. Okay, nugget number 8 for me came in 2009, the know when to fold 'em moment. It was one of the harder professional years for me. You have to remember, as we've been doing this counting for 20 minutes now, I'm 7 years into this gig, you know, selling tickets. Like, I am not on the planet to be the CEO of a ticketing company, and I'm schlepping tickets, building a great company. And it's great, but what I realized is that Frontgate as a company was stuck on the rocks. Everybody in Austin thought we were Frontgate Tickets. They had no idea I built a software platform that other companies were using. Everyone around the nation was like, oh, we're the 8 licensees that aren't Frontgate Tickets, because, you know, they weren't doing the volume that we were doing. And so I had clients who had been on the system for a while. I had employees who had been there a while. I had myself and my co-founder who had been there a long time. There was the energy lull came 7 years in. They call it the 7-year itch. I think maybe it exists in business too, but it was a tough year, and there were some things I realized around how I formed the company and how I brought people into the company to try to incentivize them that really had me in a difficult position in terms of being able to make change. There weren't any, I didn't have total control of the company by then, and I wasn't able to get people to buy into this bigger vision because, you know, well, as a leader, I wasn't successful convincing them of my vision. But secondly, we had a really good thing and everybody was afraid of losing it. And so I reached this point. My co-founding CTO was really suffering from founder fatigue. And I reached a point, is there like a puppy back there or something? I reached a point where I was like, my heart's not in it. You know, I gave birth to this thing and it's it's not in it. And it took me I put the numbers up here. They probably don't matter to y'all, but to me they matter. In 2009, I knew I was stuck. And you'll see in my deck that it wasn't until 2012 that I left. I didn't know when to fold them. I held in there, held on to something because it was so precious to me that I just didn't have the foresight to let go. I had fear around it. I had my own stuff around it being a failure. Like I wanted to make it go international and do these other things, but functionally I really couldn't. And so I stayed paralyzed for a while. And I definitely think know when to fold them is a good sort of back of the mind mantra. It happens in, it could be a simple argument with somebody that you care about. Like sometimes you just gotta, not worth it. I'm gonna move on. And I've gotten a lot better about that. I'm a lot happier ever since. And that segues a little bit into let go when it's time to let go. So, 2010, I'm like definitely really miserable. Product vision, you get to this point, you have a 7-year-old company and 200 clients, and it's like trying to drive the Titanic, which is funny because I look at like Dell going private and I'm like, that's like driving the Titanic. That is a serious initiative. But for me as an entrepreneur, it felt really paralyzing to try to imagine how to get this company free flowing again, back in the middle of the stream, so to speak. So I spent the year of 2010 letting go, sort of going through the whole, like, I'm the mother of this thing, like it came from my living womb. The people that worked for me were my friends, the executive management was my friends, the culture was all about me. And I was just over attached. And finally I had the realization to go ahead and let it go. And it's the best decision I ever made, because what happened next was great. I spent the year of 2009 and 2010 and 11 finding a management team that I could trust to raise my baby not raise my baby, keep track of my baby, because my baby was grown by then. And I hired the staff probably in 2008, and the ones that had management potential really started to emerge. And I was like, okay, my heart's not in it. You guys have been here 3 or 4 years. Like, I'm keeping a lid on this thing, and all these bright minds want to take my baby to a whole new dimension. And I let them, and like, it was awesome. They redid our scanner system. So we went to access control. They integrated with the POS system so we could have, that was the beginning of the cashless wristband stuff that I think as consumers just came out last year. But we worked on it for quite a while. And it was really cool. I learned the lesson of evolve, or for Frontgate it would have been become a commodity, because transacting a ticket, by 2011, there were a lot of people transacting a ticket. You had to provide more value to the customer than that. But it could be evolve or, die. There's any number of undesirable outcomes in that. So that was a good lesson for me, and I think it pertains to everything professionally and personally. We have, a responsibility to remain interesting to our partners. Both professionally and personally, and it's not so much a reinvention. You always keep the core of yourself, but it is our personal responsibility to stay interesting, to stay compelling, to be innovative, and do all those things. It's nobody else's responsibility but your own. Even in a big company, that's where change happens, which is why I kind of started with this, speech about the importance of where you are in your life, and that personal accountability piece really comes in when you're talking about evolution. So those were my 10 golden nuggets. This is a free nugget. Don't count the money before it's in the bank. I learned that one the hard way. And always be your authentic self. It was when the Mac came out and you could first take crazy pictures like this. This is the first version. That was my CFO, who is a super handsome hunk of a guy. And, here we are thinking we're really important, and we took this hilarious photo, which today, I mean, how creepy is that? It's a pretty funny photo. But I learned through my journey at Frontgate that I'm a much happier person when I share authentically, when I get up here and I'm like, some people are going to think I'm unprofessional, or some people are going to think I'm an idiot. Whatever that deepest vulnerability I might have that somebody in this room might be thinking. Once I got willing to confront that, I became a much better leader, a much better mother, a much better partner, and a much happier human being. So with that, my 10 nuggets of Frontgate tickets, I hope provide inspiration for you both personally and professionally. We can open it up to Q&A. You can ask me literally anything. And I'll tell you if I want to answer it.
What were your other startups?
Let's see. My very first startup, well, hardly a startup. I started a record label while I was a aquatic biology student. I started an oak wilt. I'm a mycological researcher in college. I started trying to do testing on oak wilt. At the time, you had to mail, if you had an oak tree that you thought might have an oak wilt, you would have to mail it to a university to get tested. And I was the whippersnapper that was like, I'm gonna make a field kit and people can test it in the field. We don't talk about that. I started the first web development company in the country. Did that. I started a data security. It was by then I'd learned to be a system administrator. I was in school and I was like, my prospects for getting my PhD are going like this. I was a perfectly mediocre student. I was not an exceptional student. And so my prospects for school felt daunting, and I was accelerating as a programmer and system administrator. This is all pre-internet. And so I was learning Unix and how to build Linux boxes and stuff like that. I was like, oh, hey, I could make a career here. And so I started building doing system administration on a contract basis. And then I wanted to, there was this thing called the World Wide Web, and Netscape Navigator was the only browser available. And I would make pages because I had been in a band and I had a record label. I made web pages for all my friends' bands that the tag was blank. Yeah. I built the first South by Southwest website, and kind of that actually launched my career in the entertainment industry because I had these technical skills and website skills that with the contacts from the music industry. And so that was actually my first music industry endeavor. Started a magazine, intrusion detection, hardware platform named Symbiote, a digital download platform that was pre-iTunes called Select Music. I started a video streaming company that would send all the video streaming it was CDCME technology at the time. And there was a guy in Dallas named Mark Cuban who had a little company called AudioNet, which was pre-broadcast.com, and we would send all of our digital content from the venues to him. And he made a lot more money on that than I did.
You're a better person.
Yeah, well. Yeah, I think there's a bottle of wine for that conversation. But, kind of nothing. I never did my own venture capital backed startup. I had a startup that I sold, the web development company. I actually sold to an Austin Ventures backed company called Human Code, and then Human Code, sort of in the prime of the .com bubble before it burst. Human Code was sold to Sapient, and so I was part of the executive management team that did that. So I worked for Sapient, ran media, entertainment, communications, and it was actually on that journey where I was I'm 20, well, I think it was 31 at the time, 30 or 31, and I'd sold 2 companies at that point. My 37-year-old brother dropped out of a heart attack unexpectedly, and I was just super type A career-oriented person, and I had this life experience. Like, we're all Irish in my family. We all drink and eat, and we used to smoke, and my brother's like the vegetarian thin guy in the family, and he croaks, you know, and so it was like this weird experience of sort of seeing the lifestyle I had with my brother being 6 years older and passing, where I did some self-reflection, really, quite frankly, out of desperation, where I was like, what am I doing? I'm in a plane going to Cambridge and the West Coast and the East Coast, and like, it's all software, and I, coincidentally, the dot-com bomb happened around that time, and it really prompted me to do some soul searching about, like, what do I really want to do? And that is when I went back to my entrepreneurial roots. So I started as an entrepreneur. Like, my mom jokes that I came out of the womb as an entrepreneur, because I was always working some angle. And, you know, and then I hit my early 20s. I'm like, this is my opportunity. Like, you know, I'm on this C track, I'm on this management track from a very young age. And that's when I was joking about my power suits and stuff. You know, I'm like 28 in my little power suit, I'm going straight to the top. And I really got caught up in that image of what that might be like. And it was lucrative. There's no denying that. And I'm super grateful for the experience. But when it was juxtaposed by such a drastic personal loss, I learned at a very young age the importance of more balance. And, you know, I consider that the silver lining of my brother's unexpected death, because it really brought me back to myself. What do I want to do? I like working with small things and small companies, and I've been on this gradual decline from big down to, my passion right now is really like micro. I like starting it, I like the problem solving, I like finding product market fit, I like mentoring a capital factory. I went and tried to work for a 50-person company in a space that I love, that I think is going to mean that I wasn't into it. So my personal journey has been one of just finding that I thrive in the earliest stages of the company. And now, you know, I'm admittedly blessed to have had successes that allow me to follow that passion. But I'm so glad I found them, and they brought me, you know, so much closer to myself. So my journey is my own journey. Everyone has their own. I hope the thing that I leave you guys with today is listen to it, and don't be ashamed of it. Don't be afraid of it. Don't get too big for your britches. Don't be too little for your britches. You know, find that thing that like resonates for you, and trust your gut and follow your heart, and try to do, you know, good in the world with the gifts that we've been given. That was a kind of like diatribe from your question, but did I answer your question? Okay. Yeah, in the back.
I have three things for you. First of all, thanks for your candid conversation. I personally enjoyed it. I don't think anybody in this room, or I'm going to speak for all of us. We all, I mean, whenever you are vulnerable, it takes courage to be vulnerable. So thank you for that. We all like you as a result.
Everyone here likes me, right? I need the approval. And if you don't, I don't like you anyway.
So thank you for that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
First of all, and the second thing, I came here because I am a bootstrapping entrepreneur like yourself. So my third thing is, do you ever have coffee? Or because I come to Capital Factory all the time for entrepreneurial groups, but I'm not, because I have a full-time job. In addition, I'm not involved with Capital Factory yet. So.
Yeah, I'll do my best not to skirt that question. I do have coffee. I do try to make myself really accessible. I genuinely enjoy meeting with people, so I'm totally open to it. The thing I ask is if you do want to meet with me, or for any reason, like, yeah, I mean, you just want to meet with me. Maybe I just want to meet with you. I don't know all you guys, but the coolest thing in Leadership Awesome, by the way, is that you have to do these things called walk and talks, and it's a coffee with everybody in the class. And it forces you to meet with everybody that you might not meet with, because naturally you're going to have this affinity to go to people you know. And I've just had the coolest conversations. So I am very open to meeting with people. If you would like to do that, you can find me on the Capital Factory website. You can email me. Mellie Price is my Twitter handle. You can find me on LinkedIn. I do need more than just, would you meet me for coffee? Like, I have to have a bar because I simply can't meet with everyone. But if you'll do your work to kind of put your thoughts together, full well knowing that if you have coffee with me, we will go out to pasture and back. And I think Carrie can attest to that. I prefer wine. But yeah, if you really have something that you feel like I could be of value, I'm happy to be of value. If you have a startup that you're interested in, I'm happy to help. But that's my one request, is that when you email me, say, hey, here's what I'm thinking, here's why I want to meet. It doesn't have to be perfect, just has to have some thought into it. So if you'll give me that, then I'll show up for you.
Thank you.
Sure. Was that 3?
That was all.
How are we doing on time? Anybody else? Okay, in the front.
So, talking about when you realized that your heart was no longer in the company that you founded, and how there was a couple more years prior to you relinquishing that and letting go of it. During that time span, what was it like? Was it like the stages of death where you're denying it and you finally get down to acceptance and you're letting it go, or were you preparing this baby to live on without you?
I'm gonna give that. I'm recently, every time somebody asks a question and the speaker goes, that's a good question, I keep getting irritated because it seems like everybody says that now, but that really is a good question. And I'm not saying that pedantically. It was both, to be honest. I made a very conscious decision to try to groom my management team to be able to run the company without me. And I did that because I knew if I didn't, my board of directors would insert people over them. And I didn't have total control of the company at that point. And these people had been with me since the beginning. So I made a very conscious personal agenda to figure out if the people I had picked and groomed could do the job. And the majority of them made it, and there was a couple that didn't. Separately from that, I did go through my own mourning process that was a bizarre combination of like feeling like I failed, feeling relieved that I'd found my truth. It was a spectrum of emotions, and my ex can probably attest to that. It was a big journey. And I think today I would make a much quicker and more deliberate decision and deal with consequences. I thought about one of my nuggets being the whole make a decision. It's better to make a decision and let the truth emerge than it is to stay on the fence. I was a big fence-sitter at that time in my life, and it didn't serve me in a number of dimensions. Yeah, that was a thoughtful question. Okay, well, it's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you. You guys are a great group and an inspiring group, and keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, that's awesome. That's great. Thank you.
Hey guys, check in with people at the front desk if you want to validate your tickets if you parked at the Omni Hotel. Thank you so much, Mellie, and thank you for being so personal. You've been amazing. Thank you so much to Capital Factory for hosting us. How amazing is this space? 200 and plus startups and like 600 plus members. I just feel so magical looking out the windows. I feel like I'm on top of the world. Can I sleep here, Nicole? Thank you to Lambert's Food Palooza for sponsoring the YWA January General Meeting. Shout out to Amanda and Nicole at Capital Factory and Sarah for their help for this month. And we'll see you guys on Wednesday, February 18th at Austin Women's Club. Thank you.